Hello everyone. The July state of the game is probably about 3 weeks away, but there are a few updates to talk about covering the Switch release and the upcoming Journey's End patch. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about the upcoming Mobile 1.3 patch, which, as you probably know, hasn't had much news released of late. But first, happy belated Canada Day to our friends up north. That was July 1st for those not familiar with that holiday. Happy 4th of July to my fellow Americans, and why not, happy Bastille Day in advance to any French or Francophile viewers. With that said, let's talk about the recent release of the Nintendo Switch port of Terraria. There's been a lot of discussion about the price of this entry, and I think with good reason. There are arguments both for and against the $30 price point, which is for both the digital and the future physical releases of the game, but let's hear from Loki what Realogic has to say about the $30 price tag, which does stand in stark contrast to the $5 price tag currently on the Steam Summer Sale for the PC version of Terraria. Here's what he had to say, quote, "Exploring the Australian dollar pricing with 505, will share what I can. Sure, Minecraft Switch comes with a couple of texture packs. Whether or not you feel that is worth $10 is up to you, I guess, and that doesn't get into the piles of DLC, IAP either. I could maybe argue that the time and effort spent on really adding robust touch controls to Switch, and trust me, it was a lot of both, versus just porting over with the standard controls from console is worth that $10 and more, if that is the issue. Regardless, again, the parties involved in pricing on consoles, such as the first parties, the publisher, etc., tend to use analogs, and for us that is Minecraft more often than not. And there you go. The additional dynamic here is that 505 wanted to keep the digital and retail prices the same so as to not disadvantage anyone, and physical releases are inherently more expensive, and more expensive on Switch than PlayStation and Xbox. That said, I'm wanting to know more about that Australian price myself. Yeah, I have to be honest, I don't really buy that explanation about the $30 digital version being priced that way so that they don't inconvenience anyone, but there you have it, that's the answer. It's not out yet, but if I had to pick one version over the other, I'd certainly pick the physical version. But then again, I already have the game, so I'm not in any race to play it. If I had to play it today on Switch or nothing else, I'd certainly go ahead and spend that $30 for the digital copy, so maybe that's their philosophy. They figure Switch owners really don't have a choice. They want to get that advantage of playing it right away, so more power to them if they want to spend the money. You know, they vote with their wallets, right? And it's certainly a great game. Anyway, Loki wrote some more. Quote, "Just sharing what I'm hearing when I ask the same questions to 505. From what I have seen, both approaches exist. Again, taking the analog, Minecraft is $29.99 digital and physical. Then you have a game like Hollow Knight where it is different, and the physical version is more than 2 times the price of the digital. Sure, some people get physical as a collector's item, but a lot of folks get it because of the internet. Because of internet issues. I know because that was me for the first year plus of Switch. Downloading games just wasn't a viable option, so being able to go pick up a cart was a lifesaver. That is the person being disadvantaged. Again, just sharing the logic as it was shared to me." So Loki, to his credit, has the tough job of being the messenger on this one. And don't take my comments as a criticism of him or even of the $30 price itself. Being compared to Minecraft is certainly an inevitable thing for a successful sandbox game like Terraria, which does put them in a tight spot with these platform pricing decisions. I think that all of us who played it were spoiled with the cheap price of Hollow Knight on the Switch and probably realized in the backs of our minds that it was kind of an unusual thing to get it for the price it was sold at. They did a really good price point on that game. Anyway, Loki made one more post regarding the Switch pricing. Quote, "Pricing on consoles is not as simple as PC, and even on PC prices are reviewed. There are more parties involved. Caveat, Realogic are not directly involved in any of those chats, so this is all me sharing secondhand info. and it tends to be set based on a few factors, such as price of analogous games, this is almost always tied to Minecraft for us, and physical release price, matching that to digital to not disadvantage anyone. Take those two together and you get the price on Switch and Xbox One and PS4. First parties and store owners are most definitely involved in all of that. That said, that Australian price has us asking questions as well. We'll share what we find out. Sounds like Pipeworks is making great progress with fix patch number 1, hopefully not much longer before that is submitted. So, while Relogic is certainly reaping the financial windfall that is 27 million and more copies of Terraria sold, I don't think anyone could honestly call them greedy as a company. They've supported this game for over 8 years, and the support continues obviously. They have never charged us for any DLC despite these huge content patches, the 4th one's coming out soon. So they've been really good to the community, and good on Loki for talking about pricing and being so open about it all. May I ask though, to any Aussies viewing, what is with the Australian pricing? I've heard horror stories before from Aussies about the price of games down there. Is there some kind of tariff on these sorts of things? And I have to ask also, is it any different over in New Zealand? I'm curious. So post a comment if you know. Anyway, on to a little bit of news about Journey's End, which is, you probably know, is the upcoming final content patch for Terraria, coming first to the PC version. Senex tweeted this week the following. And I, of course, appreciate the Simpsons reference. I always appreciate a Simpsons reference. But what is a Jura ticket? I'd never heard of it. You've probably never heard of it either unless you're into development. Well, there's a reason why. It's very obscure. Senex clarified. She wrote, quote, "It is the system we use to track what needs to be done and assign new tasks to team members. It means I am giving them a new list of stuff to do." It's apparently a software tool used by Relogic for their development. I googled it, and you can Google it too. It's just a tool that some developers use. So don't read too much into the word Jira, other than that this post indicates that new things keep coming to the Journey's End patch. Judging by the context, it probably means that new content keeps getting added to the game, so they're really expanding this patch. I think they're really going all out on this final content patch for Terraria. As much as we've seen already in trailers and their spoiler posts, there's probably a lot that we haven't seen yet, which will probably delay the release of Journey's End for some time. Speaking of delayed releases, I was amused to see the following comments in Senex's Twitter post. I have to suspect that some of you guys are posting these messages, and if it's not you, it's your kindred spirits. There's definitely a strong clamor for more mobile 1.3 news, and that's an understatement. And I'm certainly not ignoring anything that comes along. The problem is that nothing has come along for a good while now outside of those state of the game updates that they do just once a month. In fact, lately things have been eerily quiet. I think the problem is that two other major projects, the Switch port of Terraria and the Journey's End patch, have temporarily stolen the limelight for mobile 1.3. But the good news is that based on the flow of information from Relogic of late, I have to think that they're really running out of things to talk about that don't involve mobile 1.3, so hopefully we get some news soon. The longer they wait between announcing the mobile 1.3 beta and actually starting it, the worse things look for them as a company. And again, it's not a criticism of Relogic. I just think that, out of their own sense of pride, they're probably going to want to move things along if they can. And I do know, I understand that they've got this kind of arm's length relationship with DR Studios, who's doing the actual development for the mobile 1.3 version. But sooner or later, we're going to have to hear something, don't you think? Rest assured, as soon as the news comes out for mobile 1.3, I will post it here. But until then, try to stay patient. I know it's difficult. Anyway, thanks for everyone for watching and supporting the channel. And as always, I will see you next time.